Well, your boy Kid Rock is at it again. Let's go. Let's go with Kid Rock. So,
Okay.
what's up with your boy? Explain to me what's going on in his brain.
He doesn't like transgender people,
Oh,
from
you
what
think
I
that's
can
it?
from I mean I'm assuming that's what it is.
So by saying that, you're suggesting that he does have a brain. I just think he's brain dead.
You think? Okay.
You don't agree. You just think he doesn't like trans people.
Well,
Well, given his latest social media video, you're probably right. And and we'll play it in a minute to give more context. But I didn't even watch it. I just saw the headline and I go, I don't care about him and I don't care that he cares about that.
right.
He's like the
Yeah,
last person, he's the last person I care about caring about anything, if that makes sense.
it does.
Like, if Joe Biden had made that video, oof, now we're talking about something different.
Oh,
Now
well,
I care.
yeah, of course.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to, I know we're talking about, well, let's be honest. They're both equally brain dead, correct?
Well,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, fair.
mm,
Yeah, it's fair.
mm,
Yeah, it's fair.
okay.
It's fair.
Whatever you say.
Joe Biden can't bathe himself. You realize this.
Yeah, I know.
He
I know.
gets sponge baths.
Yeah.
That's the level of, well, before we play
So,
Kid Rock's video, we have to talk about what he's reacting to. So there is a trans influencer who goes by the name of Dylan Mulvaney. She transitioned from male to female and very, very much a big influence on social media and the internet. You can find many, many people on the political side that Kid Rock is on making videos about her, reacting to her videos, and not very pleased with her, and just
okay,
like Kid
okay.
Rock, care about her in a way that I just find odd.
Okay,
I
so
don't know why he'd care.
you say not very pleased with her. What, because of how she's influencing, or is it because
Yeah,
she's
because it's a
transgender?
transit. Both, both.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who feel that the trans influence is bad for, let's call it, our youth, right?
Okay. Okay.
No, I'm not saying that. That's what they're saying. I'm just repeating it. So that's what they're reacting to. This person is they're mid 20s, I want to say. So they're reaching a lot of young people.
Yeah.
She is reaching a lot of young people.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. This isn't for me when I just talk about the reach and the overall impact that people can have on other people. For me, it's not about trans, it's not about gender, it's not about gay, it's not about straight, it's not about white, it's not about black. It's about, do you have a reach? Period.
Right.
And there are
Yeah.
plenty of people who have a bigger reach than she does that could say just as much, if you want to call it controversial or whatever you want to call it, can say as many controversial things, and it gets swept under the rug. So that's why I'm kind of like, when people react to this stuff, I go, well, it's odd that you care as much, because believe me, there are people probably on the same network as you, or on the same political side as you, or in your timeline, who are saying far more hurtful and making statements that, to be honest with you, could have more of a negative impact with a wider reach than, you know, uh, so I just learned recently of who Dylan Mulvaney is, but it's a lot of like, picture what a trans influencer would be talking about, the switch from being male to female and discovering all these new female characteristics and whatever. Do what you do. I'm not going to watch your videos. I certainly don't give a fuck if you make them,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
but that's what people are upset about. And I don't know if I made my point clear about the other people with the wider reach, but I mean, there are people who say things that are more detrimental to their audience than someone going, hey, it's really great to be female now. Here's my perspective, right?
Yeah.
But before I play the video, where do you sit on this? Do you agree with me? Or are you kind of feeling the same way, or what? And don't feel like you're incriminating yourself here, but
No,
you
I
are.
I don't feel like I am. It's a tough battle because I'm on the
Well,
side.
let me stop you real quick.
I Okay.
You just said something really interesting.
Okay.
It's a tough battle for whom?
Well, I mean, her, honestly, I'm
Okay,
sure,
good,
and I'm sure she feels
cool.
that way too. But for me, I'm saying I've always been on the side of do you, whatever makes you happy. That's not my route to take in life, but I know that there are people out there who feel like I have never been completely comfortable in my own body, and this is their way to change that to where they do feel comfortable. And that's fine. I get it. But you also have to know that there's going to be criticism that comes along with that. I don't know that there necessarily should be, but there is going to be, especially if you have a platform to where you are reaching out to millions and millions of people, especially the younger youth. And a lot of that criticism is going to come from probably the older crowd, I would imagine, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because those people are going to have to be, the older crowd is going to be phased out before everything becomes normal, I think. Like everything, like all of the transgender stuff and, all that kind of stuff, like before that really becomes normal, people are going to have to be phased out who have never lived in a world where this is a thing or a real thing, to where also we have social media where it's pushing it out to
Mhm.
everyone, to where everyone can, millions and millions of people can see it. Does that make
Right.
sense?
No, it does.
I don't have a necessarily a side here. Whether I think that I don't think I think Kid Rock is against it. Okay, I get it, and he was just making a simple statement for himself. For him,
Simple is one way of putting it. Yes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for
Simple
him,
Jack. Simple Jack statement. Yes.
yeah. So I mean, he's just making a simple statement for himself, and of course, it has ruffled feathers, and he knew it was going to, but he also, pushes everything to a certain crowd, and he knew that that's what, like, this. It's all strategy.
Of
He's
course.
on social
He's not
media.
dumb.
It's strategy.
Of course.
Now I don't.
He's pandering to his audience and he's pandering to the political right by doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
This isn't anything new. This isn't anything we haven't talked about. This isn't anything that should be surprising to anyone.
Right.
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying I find it odd that this is the battle you choose. You know, but
Well, I mean, he was throwing things in there too, I think, by pulling out a gun.
yeah,
Like there were,
he hit quite a few political talking
yeah,
points in that
yeah,
short
right,
video. Yes. And we'll
yeah,
watch it in a sec. You said something interesting there. You said something along the lines of, people not feeling comfortable in their own skin or identifying as who they are. Did you see
hmm.
the new Jim Jeffries special?
No, I haven't.
So he has a chunk of it where he talks about trans but he said he makes a statement about like, you know, trans people often defend themselves by saying they're not comfortable in their own body. And he goes, well, that's 98% of the world. He's like, I fucking hate the stupid body that I'm in. I just haven't chosen to be female. Something along those lines. I
Okay.
didn't tell the joke the way that he tells it, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even know it was a joke. I think he was just making a statement. The
I was
joke
like, that
came
wasn't
later.
that wasn't funny.
No, he was just making a statement. but I can, as someone who practices self-hatred and loves self-inflicted punishment, I can relate to that. You know, while I do loathe my own person sometimes in my own skin, it's not going to make me choose to be female. That's
Yeah,
just not where my brain or body want to go. But some people do. And that's the choice they've made,
yeah,
which again, I don't have a problem with that. So I find it interesting that the idea that you have is, well, people aren't comfortable, so they want to make the change, but then some people don't understand the change, but then some people want to complain about it. I think it ultimately comes down to it's like, well, if they weren't to change, but still talked about it, okay? So let's say Dylan Mulvaney doesn't say he has now transitioned to she, he is still a he. But I want to talk about how uncomfortable I am being a he. I want to be a her. I want to transition. But out of the fear of all you fuckers shooting guns at Bud Light cans, I'm just going to stay the way I am for now. Would the reaction by Kid Rock and all these other people who have a problem be the same? The
because she hasn't actually done it.
No, just the action of even speaking about wanting to do it. She's already done it. But I'm saying,
Oh, I
what if
know
she
that, but
didn't and
you're
just
saying, yeah,
talked
what?
about it?
Yeah, right.
Would the conversation still be as scary to these people? I guess is what I'm asking. And that's the one thing, that's the one correlation that I've made in my own brain is I don't know, things have happened so fast and I feel like this has become an issue or an agenda for so many people in such an odd time in our history, given all that's gone on over the last 3 years. I don't know that we ever really had, as a general public, through mainstream media, through politics, through socio-political staging, I don't know that we've ever had a conversation about it. It feels like the issue of trans just one day became people want to be trans, and then we all went through a pandemic and went through the world being burned down by protesters and went through an election, and then now everyone's trans that wanted to be trans, that talked about being trans. And the rest of us are kind of playing catch up. Does that feel the same way to you? That's how I feel. Now, again,
I
when
think
it
it's
started, I didn't care.
I think it's
I didn't take
just
issue with it.
I think it's just because of social media. I think it's maybe just all at once.
Well, everything is because of
Maybe
social media.
well, yeah.
2023.
Yeah, but I mean, everything maybe has been pushed out a lot more to you through social media, and that's why it feels like all of a sudden it's just everyone. I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the trans issue went away for some time because we were dealing with other shit. The news cycle was handling other shit, but now it's back. It will, to be honest with you, it feels like the new political talking point that we're going to hear a lot more of from each side.
Yeah.
And I would feel, if I was trans, I would feel insulted that I'm being used as a political talking point in the first place. Just like if I was a woman and the whole abortion rights issue, I would feel insulted by that. If I were a person of color and the issue of civil rights, I would feel insulted. Like, why am I a political talking point? I'm still a person. I still live and assimilate to this society like everyone else.
Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month.
Can I tell you something that already caught my attention? Did the little tap.
Okay, why does that catch your attention?
I don't know.
What does that do? I mean, I've seen people do that a lot, but I don't know. I never knew what
It's to keep it from exploding when you open it. It's to break down the. You never. If your beer's a little shook up. Here's what I'm saying.
does that actually
Before
work?
she transitioned, she was a beer drinker. That's what I'm trying to say. God
But
damn you.
it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's
Okay, I changed my mind. No, she didn't drink beer because she doesn't know what March Madness is.
cause
This
to
has to be a
celebrate.
joke.
No, it's not a joke.
This month, I
Watch.
celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my
Okay, I had
Instagram
not-
story
I
to
had
see
not
how
seen
you
that.
can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too. Love ya! Cheers! Go team! Whatever team you love, I love too. Okay. Love ya. Okay, break a leg. Woo!
Learn how to end a video.
Do you
Good
really
God.
think she didn't know
Hey, St. Louis.
what March Madness was? Do you really think she didn't know what March
Oh.
Madness was?
I don't know. Maybe that's part of the character.
I think it was.
I don't trust anyone who knows how to tap a beer, but doesn't know what March Madness is.
Okay.
You
Makes sense.
are a Martian, if that's the case. If you know to tap a beer to keep the head down, but you don't know what March Madness is, there's something going on.
Yeah.
So that was the video. That was the thing. Bud Light announced put her face on a can, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Kid Rock had to respond to this.
Grandpa's feeling a little frisky today. Let me say something to all you
It's good to know he's old and irrelevant.
and be as clear and concise as possible.
Redundant, same word. What a badass who's got a gun, bro.
Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
Why is he crying?
Are you sure he's crying, or does it just look like it? I don't think he is.
I mean, he was stammering. He was
You
choked
think?
up.
Hmm.
Does he always sound like a little weeping 6-year-old?
Not when he's
Let me
singing
ask you
ball
this.
with the
Do you think
ball.
he's gonna stop serving Anheuser-Busch products at his restaurants?
Oh, I'm sure they won't.
Exactly.
But that would be the way to make the statement, right? If he did.
Well, that would be the true statement, yes. And you wouldn't even post about it. You would just do it, and people would start coming to your restaurants, and they would ask for a Budweiser, and you go, no, I'm not serving it anymore. Oh, well, why? Here's why. Go
Do
tell
you?
everyone.
do you do it that way, or do you do it the opposite way and you make a big social media post about it, and then people want to come to your establishment because they're helping the cause?
I think he's already got that crowd covered. No?
Good point.
What are your
Maybe,
thoughts on
maybe
his
he handled that with the gun. I don't know. We'll see.
these fucking guys and their guns, dude. Jesus Christ. Which, by the way, if I watch one more podcast host do their podcast with a gun holster on,
Is that a thing?
yeah. Steven Crowder does it. Anthony Cumia does it. It's like, well, you guys aren't Scarface. No one's coming to get you. Who do you think you are? Take the gun holster off, you cucks.
Are they doing it like to where they're showing it on purpose to the camera?
They're wearing it while they do a show.
Weird.
You don't know what I'm talking about, really?
No, I don't. Can we pull this up?
Yes.
I need to see.
Yes. Steven Crowder is one that annoys me the most. What he's saying doesn't matter, but just pay attention to what he's wearing.
Against the rape, okay? Just to be clear. So what I'm about to say is not an apologist for the rapists, like that man at Walmart. Right. Clearly guilty of rape, of course, as she insinuated. Yeah.
See the straps around his shoulders?
Oh, that I thought you just meant like a. Okay, all right, I see what you're saying now. Why? What is the point in that?
Because he's a cuck. Because he lives in a fantasy world where he thinks someone's going to leap through this window right here and attack him. So he's got to be ready at all times. You're not Scarface. You're not fucking Carlito. No one's coming after you, dude.
I mean, is it just
a right-wing show with a stupid neon sign behind your back? No one's coming after you. Take the holster off, you fucking dork.
I was gonna say though, that's just a way to promote right wing, though, right? Just
yeah,
a visual.
Of course. It's so stupid. That's more annoying to me than the cigars now. And you know how much that annoyed me.
Yeah.
It's just become normal at this point.
I think you're going to have a lot more things with podcasting that's going to happen like that.
Explain.
Just random stuff's going to become normal when you have like millions of podcasts out there and everybody's just doing their own thing and just making money easily.
Oh, more than millions.
Well, I know, but
you're right. No, you're absolutely right. But a holster while you're doing what? You're in your own studio. He has like a compound. Like no one's coming to get you. Take it off. It's nerdy. You're a nerd. You're not going to shoot anybody anyway. That's what I love about these guys who are pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment. And you're going to try to take my guns away. I have a right. Like you're never going to shoot anybody. A, you're never going to be in a position to shoot anybody. B, if you were, you wouldn't. You'd call the police and let them do the dirty work for you.
Maybe.
I know a guy who's on the opposite side of the political spectrum on this, and he's very anti-police. Okay, I haven't had a relationship with it. I mean, it's somebody that I used to know. We're acquaintances at this point, but I oftentimes want to unfollow him on social media because some of his anti-police shit. So I'm just like, ugh. But it's the same way I feel about the other side. So please, I don't want anyone to take this as me being, ultimate police supporter and whatever. That's not the case. My argument to him is always like, hey dude, you don't live in the slums of anywhere. You live in a good area of town. What if someone came after your family? Who are you going to call? You're going to call the police. Because I know you're not pro-gun. You don't want guns either. Every time there's a shooting of any, he's posting about it. This is why we need to get rid of guns. So you want to get rid of police, you want to get rid of guns. So what's the end game here? Drones? Is it drones?
I don't know, but that's kind of more isn't that opposite of what most people are? Like you're saying he's anti-gun and anti-police. That's normally not the same person, right?
Yeah, it is. It's
really?
Yeah, it's a very lefty sort of. Yeah. Defund the police, get rid of guns. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like most people who are anti-police would still be on the pro-gun side.
My whole point of that is like, who's going to help?
As in defending themselves.
Sure. Well, my whole point is like, who's going to help you?
Yeah.
Nobody, because you want to get rid of all the police because they're such bad people. And we won't even go down that road. We've already talked about this.
I mean, we have a little bit. Just to throw my 2 cents in there, I'm not I'm not really on either side of the spectrum on that. I'm not anti or pro either way.
Bro, what?
Do I have guns in my house? Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Are they to defend myself if I were to ever need to? Yes.
Sure.
But
I don't
I'm
need to talk
not.
about it though.
Yeah.
I'd rather surprise you
I
instead of
know.
you knowing that
know
I
what
have
you're,
them.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. But
I don't know.
yeah.
Come on and break in. Let me surprise you.
Yeah.
I'd rather you think I don't have them than know that I do have them so that you come prepared and have more than me.
True.
I don't know. I might give that away by, I don't know, wearing a holster during this podcast. You might know that I'm armed. So it's so dumb.
Why do we let Kid Rock take us down a gun rabbit hole?
He did it. He did it to us.
Bastard. That
I know.
bastard.
That's some bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the
So
end of
anyways,
the day, man, I don't care about that person having their face on a Bud Light can. It's just, it wouldn't be anything ever that I would A, care about, B, talk about publicly if I did care about it. Maybe that makes
so
me
I
a
don't
pussy.
remember who it was, but I was watching a video and they were talking about the whole Kid Rock video. I don't remember who the woman was or what the video was, but they were talking about Kid Rock and this whole thing. And she was comparing it to the can with Dylan's face on it, comparing that to a certain time when Bud Light came out with cans that had the Philadelphia Eagles on it and the New York Giants on it.
Okay.
And she's like, so this beer case has both of them in there, but also has regular Bud Light cans in there also. She's like, I can choose which one I want to drink. But I guess she's like from New York. So she was saying that it like broke her heart that they had Philadelphia Eagles on the cans also.
Okay.
So this is her comparison to this. But as stupid as the comparison is, it kind of makes sense. Because it's like that changes nothing. It literally changes nothing that
No.
a woman's face is on the can. The beer didn't change. You're just trying to say that the morals of a
Well, a
brewery.
trans woman. Let's be very clear.
Okay.
That's why
Okay.
he
Yeah.
cares. But
I understand that, but
yeah, that was a weird connection to make. She's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah, she is.
We might need to get her checked out. That's crazy. But I wouldn't drink a Steelers Bud Light either. So I get it. I also wouldn't drink Bud Light. Bud Light sucks.
Bud Light's terrible, dude.
It's
Ugh,
the worst. It is the
gross.
worst. But
Yeah.
anyway, one of the things that I saw, a comment that I saw, and I can't remember from which lady it was. It might have been one of these ESPN ladies, or I can't remember. But she said, I think the only people who can truly be upset about this can and who's on it are women, because it's another job, it's another promotion, it's another thing taken away from women by a man who wanted to become a woman. And she brought up like, oh, Caitlyn Jenner was only a woman for a year and was Woman of the Year, and Fallon Fox became a woman and started beating girls' heads in, and the swimmer, whatever the swimmer's name is, like, and I brought this up to my wife. She made a very interesting point. Actually, not interesting. She made a great point. She goes, that's fine if that's the argument that person wants to take, but I don't care about that, because a trans woman doing anything doesn't affect my position as my own woman. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. She doesn't have to care. She does not have to care. It doesn't change who she is as a woman. It's never going to change who she is as a woman. She said the same thing about Caitlyn Jenner, the same thing about, female trans athletes. And she goes, it doesn't change my position in this world as a woman. They have simply joined me. She's right. She's right. Athletics is kind of where I still draw a line.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And my whole argument with that is like, how many male trans athletes are there?
Right. None that there may be out there, but none that we've heard about.
Yeah. No.
Because they would get
So until
crap.
that happens, my mind will still kind of be, my opinion is solidified on that when it comes to athletics. But did you see the swim? What is the swimmer's name? Do you remember?
I can't remember off the top of my
Did you
head.
see that she is not being allowed to compete in the Olympics?
No, I didn't. But I did hear, I don't, is it college or something I heard not too long ago that they are that they are banning like trans being able to compete in athletics.
Not the NCAA.
It's not the NCAA.
No, so it's the governing body that does the Olympics. They have banned it.
Okay, so maybe that's what I was.
They
Maybe
have
that's
said
what I heard.
she's not
Okay.
allowed, and it's not, no one else is. On both
Okay.
sides. On both sides. It's not, one way.
So is
So
there outrage against this?
yeah, a
Do you
little
know?
bit. Yeah, a little bit. And people bring up like why aren't there trans leagues? But I'm like, doesn't that just muddy the waters more?
It does, but I think it would muddy the waters for a little bit. But
Here's here
if you force them to have to be in a league of their own, I think it wouldn't take long before the league goes away.
that's exactly my point. That changes the equality of everything. It's supposed to be about equality, right? So then
Correct?
why create their own league? There's not a gay and lesbian league for any sport, right? They're
Sure.
just expected to compete with their fellow athletes. So why would this be any different? I bring that up only because, like I said, like there aren't that we know of that are doing well any male trans athletes that are competing and actually making some noise. And I say this because I'm now the father of two boys who, things go the way that I want. They'll be athletes. They might not. That's okay. But if they are, and by the time they are athletes, by the way, my kids are young. So like by the time they are athletes, who knows where this conversation will be. But if they do compete against trans athletes, them being males, and the competition is tight, that's the world we live in, baby. Time to get better. I would treat it the same way as if they were getting dominated by another boy or another
Yeah.
male. You
Yeah.
got beat, you lost, learn, get better. Period. We're not there yet.
But you're still saying you don't want it.
No. I'm not saying that at all.
Well, you're saying that in athletics in general.
On the female side. So look, on the
Okay,
female
okay,
side,
okay.
dude, look, man, we've
But
had this conversation
in
before.
the equality discussion, though, you can't have it just one way. It's got to be.
But
You have to
I'll take it the
have
same
the
way,
option of
dude.
both. Yeah.
When it comes to physical prowess. So let's push it to the side we were talking about. So male, right? You have a woman who's transitioned into a man. We'll go 130 pounds. They want to start wrestling against other 130-pound males. It's a slippery slope. It's a tough go. Now, that person could get really good and technically speaking could compete at a high level, but the biology and will not be there in the same way. But if it gets to a point where that is a normal thing, fine.
What worries me is that, there's a lot of parents out there now who think that their kids at very young ages are able to make their own decisions on what they want to be and how they want to do things. And
Another slippery slope.
And in the future, I don't know what doctors are going to be able to do or be willing to do or anything like that. But I'm curious how young kids are going to be when doctors start letting them transition, and that parents will let them do that because they're thinking their kids are making their own decisions, even though their brains are nowhere near fully developed. And I don't know, man.
We've seen it as young as 3 to 5 years old.
Like transition? I don't know that I've seen that young. Is that
hormone
true?
blockers?
Oh yeah.
To get the process started.
Yeah. And that's my thing is like, you would think the earlier on, the easier the transition would be. But that worries me.
I don't, as a parent, you want to give your kids all that you can and all that they want. Obviously with some regulation and some sort of guidelines and discipline. Do I think that a 5-year-old has the ability to understand their own body and what type of body they should be in? Or is it of the influence of someone else or the outside world? It's tough to call. Do I think there are 5-year-olds out there that are of the intelligence, unlike their peers, to be able to articulate how they feel about themselves? Sure. And I think that scares a lot of those parents that have that 5-year-old that can do that.
But I don't even know.
You
if
got to
it's
think
that.
what 5 is.
I
When I was 5, I didn't want to walk into a room with other people, right?
Yeah.
Terrified. I was terrified of people, period.
Yeah.
Dreaded going into public places. I hated it. I hated school. I hated church. I hated everything. I dreaded it. I wasn't one of those kids, obviously. I was terrified to say anything to strangers, to people I knew, to my fucking parents, right? But even of my generation, I knew there were kids at a very young age that were able to explain things that I could not explain and able to do things that I could not do because they didn't have that fear. They didn't have that restriction of the brain and of the emotions and of the body and of the spirit that I had.
But
and this isn't like I carried that. Dude, I still have that. If I have kids, I still have that.
But my thing is too, it's not only just the kid making a decision. It's also like, just as well as I do, there are parents out there who wanted a girl but had a boy.
Well, those
and
parents suck.
There are parents out there that would do it, and
Those
vice
parents
versa.
suck.
They wanted a boy but had a girl.
Sorry.
They do suck. They do suck. But
change positions then. I don't know what to tell you. Do something else. Fucking assholes, man. Like,
yeah.
What I can say to you with confidence, now that I have 2 boys, I'm so glad I don't have girls.
Yeah.
So glad. I am so glad. Knowing people that have them and, family that has, so glad. So glad I don't have to deal with it.
And I got one boy and I'm the same. And my wife says the same thing too. She's like, I don't know what we would have done if we had a girl.
I mean, you would have been fine.
We would get through it, but she's just like, I thank God he was a boy.
Your wife seems like a boy mom too, like my wife.
She definitely is, yeah.
But I know
she never grew up as like the girly girl either,
Well, I don't think my wife did necessarily either, but I know if we had a girl, it would be game over. I would not exist in my home. For real. I might as well build a tree house out and back and, that's where I sleep.
Let's transition real quick into something else that annoys Patrick.
What of all things, what?
This SNL skit.
God, it pissed me off. Did you watch it yet?
I did. I don't know why it made you so mad though. I thought it was pretty funny.
You thought it was funny. You don't feel a bit insulted that no, let's just watch it.
Because they call Papa Roach and Panic at the Disco for white people? Or did you read into it deeper than I did?
Maybe, but we'll watch it. Okay, so no. Here's where I got pissed. If you're going to say that the song Last Resort by Papa Roach is white, why wouldn't you do a white accent? Instead of doing the weird, nonsensical accent and character that you started with in the first place. This is why this show sucks now. It's terrible writing. You're not with me on this. I can tell.
I'm not necessarily against you. I
hate it. I can't finish it. The only reason that I even know that
was actually
happened,
kind of fun. That last one was kind of funny.
Is that where you laughed? Let me scoop on by you.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know someone that says that?
No, but I'm picturing only a white person.
Did he say scoop or scoot?
Scoot.
Okay. Scoot. Okay, yeah. We do say scoot, don't we?
I think so, yeah.
Boot, scoot, boogie.
Well, there you go. Now that's white right there.
Oh, that is white.
You just Brooks and dunned it.
The only reason that I know that even happened is because Loudwire posted it like, oh, SNL referenced Papa Roach and Panic at the Disco. And I'm thinking, well, certainly they weren't doing it in a flattering way. And of course, I mean, whatever. It's fine. It's a joke. But I just thought it was shitty. It was shitty sketch, shitty writing.
I've never asked you, I don't think. Like, are you a fan of Panic at the Disco? Is that a dumb question to ask you?
I don't know if it's not a dumb question. Yeah, I like them.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Like back to the beginning? Or like,
especially the beginning, yeah.
Okay. All right.
They've had some stuff where I'm like, nope. But then some stuff I'm like, yeah, it's very good. I also met those guys. way back in the day. It was a very weird sort of dynamic, weird sort of band in the beginning because it was honestly, it's kind of like a manufactured. Oh god, well, fuck it, who cares? You can Google it. It's kind of like a manufactured type situation, kind of like a boy band would be. So
they were all like put together.
kind of, sort of, yeah.
Okay.
You can Google it. I mean, that's not. I'm not saying any. I'm like I'm talking shit. Like it's a fact
Yeah.
that's known at this point. But well,
So
let me
I
just
I
fact
didn't
check
know
myself.
that they had I guess quote unquote broke up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you really consider it that. I mean, they're not a band anymore or a group anymore, whatever you want to consider it. I'm surprised that wasn't bigger news, or maybe it was, and somehow it just got by me. I don't know.
It was big news at the time, yeah. But I mean, I think what outshined the whole breakup in the first place is that the singer is the one that announced it, and he kind of just made it all about himself and not about the dudes at all.
Okay.
So it was like it was a pronoun thing. It was like I. I'm doing this. I've
Which
chosen
we
to do
know
this
you
now.
hate.
Instead
We
of
know you
saying,
hate.
yeah, man, you're a part of
Yeah.
a fucking collective. Say we. It's not all about you. That is my
Oh, dude.
biggest pet peeve, dude.
Speaking of that, we can do this quick. Can we talk about the Caitlin Clark situation real quick?
Please. I was going to bring it up when we were talking about trans athletes, but go ahead. What are
Well,
your thoughts?
I wanted to bring it up because of what you just said, the I thing. In the interviews that I've seen her do, everything is her about her pushing off the compliments to her team, not taking them on her own. Am I wrong with that? Have you
Wait,
seen
say this again?
like the interviews that I've seen her do where she's been asked questions and stuff? She's pushing all the compliments off to her teammates.
Good. I'm okay with that.
I know you are, and that's my point. Is like you always go back to like the Machine Gun Kelly thing. You said you used him as an example multiple times about how he's never had the I mentality. It's always been his people and stuff.
Sure.
And I think that's the same thing with like Caitlin Clark. Like she is a boss in women's basketball for
Yeah.
sure. Probably the most looked at athlete in women's basketball. And when people are trying to give her compliments and trying to, you know, say good things about her, she's saying my team, my team, my team. Not this isn't me, this is my team.
Right.
But anyway, so I wanted to compliment her on that. Wanted to compliment her on a great season. And do you agree that she's a really good player and a very basic player? Like she doesn't do anything like absolutely spectacular out of the court. She's not like, you know what I mean? Like everything she does is basic. She's just very good at it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I think that's I would call her spectacular in her own right. But Angel Reese was better.
Yeah.
Caitlin
So
Clark scored more points throughout the tournament, but when it mattered most, Angel Reese was better. And her team was better.
yeah,
So,
I mean they're
that whole thing about people bitching about Angel Reese doing the celebration, it's like, who cares? You guys are nuts. I don't know
now
when we raised
you can agree that the technical on Caitlin Clark was bullshit though, right?
which one.
The technical in their game against LSU.
Oh, I don't even know about that. When was that?
Oh, you don't?
No. What are you talking about?
So she got a technical foul called on her because she knocked a ball away from herself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's not the same type of thing though, you know? We're talking about taunting other players or being confident and using it against the other
You're
team.
talking about like the ring, the pointing at your because wasn't she? So Caitlin did
She
like
did the you
see me
see me
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people were bitching about it. And, you know, the media created it as this sort of like hood ghetto thing, which I'm like, what? What do we even? But Caitlin Clark did it earlier in the season. And look,
Yeah.
she lost. And she took it like a boss. She knows she lost. She gave credit where credit's due. She didn't complain about it, and she shouldn't have. If she did, oh, she's gonna get better from it. That's what I'm saying. Like, what happened to competition, man? Like, when do we start raising our kids to not be able to lose.
Do you really want to get into the participation trophy conversation?
That's my point.
Yeah.
Like Angel Reese had every right to do whatever she wanted to do, with the exception of slapping somebody on the other team in that celebratory moment. She just won the national championship. You know, like, what do you expect her to do? It's so dumb. And people being like, well, if Caitlin Clark had done it, no one would care. They're right. They're fucking right. And that's sad. But at the end of the day, I don't care about that. What I care about is like, why can't we just let both teams, both players, white or black, be competitive and be confident and celebrate in a moment of glory? Who gives a fuck? Get better from the loss. And I guarantee you, Caitlin Clark will. And I guarantee you, if Angel Reese had lost that game and Caitlin Clark did it, she wouldn't be calling her out. She would be going, yeah, that's bullshit. Fuck her. Now, maybe in her brain, in the moment, she'd be like, fuck that bitch. But like, she wouldn't talk to the media in a way that's like, yeah, she should be punished because she taunted me. What are we doing?
Right.
Am I wrong? Do you agree?
I mean, you can compare it to, say, like football. I mean, when somebody scores a touchdown and they do some kind of a dance in the end zone or anything like that, like how is that any different than?
I want to call this a little bit different though, because we're talking about 10 people on a court, and we're talking about the 2 star players in the national championship game. It feels a little bit different to me. Also, they both go into
between
but
them two.
they both go into it knowing the media created narrative of white versus black, the little wholesome girl from Iowa versus the, I'm using air quotes here for people that are listening, hood girl that plays for LSU.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. It's so silly. She did nothing wrong. And if Caitlin Clark had done it, I'd be saying the same thing.